Hello, everybody. Welcome to Up Here's Black Arts Matters panel. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Rihanna Brown. I am this year's guest curator. I am also the co-president of Sudbury Black Lives Matter, as well as Up Here's installation coordinator, usually. So we're super excited to have you all here with us today. For those of you who are just tuning in, you're like, what the heck is going on? My friend told me to come here. This is going to be super cool. It is going to be super cool and stellar. We have an amazing list of panelists lined up. So I'm only going to talk briefly, but basically I want to give a big thank you to Up Here for giving us this chance to talk about Black arts and why it's important and what Black arts is, and just giving us a platform to really amplify Black arts voices. So we're going to have a really cool discussion going on with some amazing panelists, like I said. And if you guys have any questions you want to ask our panelists at all, just shoot them in our Facebook comments under the live, and we will field through them and we'll get the panel going shortly. So firstly, I'd like to welcome our incredible and beautiful stellar moderator, Shana, to the live.
Hello, Rana. Nice to see you.
Hi, Shana. How are you today?
I'm doing quite well. Very excited about today and this panel.
Yeah, we're so excited to have you. So why don't you tell us about yourself, and then we'll have you introduce the panelists.
Sure thing. So my name is Shana Calix. I have been living here in what we now call Sudbury for 13 years. I work at public health. I'm also a professor at Thornlow University at Laurentian, and I've been engaged in quite a bit of activism over the course of my life, mainly in feminist, queer, and Black activism. So I'm very excited to hear about these panelists, and also very excited to hear about why Black arts matter.
Great. And so with that, I will leave you all in the capable hands of Shana, and she will introduce our panelists. So thank you very much.
Great. Thank you, Rana. Well, as Rana said, let's get to it. We've got some great panelists today who will share with you their art, their vision, and also their ideas of this current day of why Black arts matter. And so we have three panelists today, Sonia, Ruthie, and Simi. And I'm going to ask Sonia to introduce herself and let us know a little bit about yourself and a bit about your art.
Hi, I'm Sonia. I come from Nigeria. I moved to Canada 7 years ago. I just finished it from the architecture school right here in MacEwan. And on the side, I do visual art, or I guess it's my main gig now. I do visual art about kind of evil-looking people and people who are tired of being polite. And I love animals, painting animals, yeah.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. Ruthie, can you introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about your art?
Absolutely. Hi, my name is Ruthie. I grew up here in Sudbury, and I am an actor. So I have been in Sudbury doing a lot of work here. I work with a company called Curator, which is and I've worked a little around Canada. I've worked in Halifax. We're supposed to be doing a show in Toronto once all of this wraps up. And yeah, that's what I'm up to. I'm back in Sudbury now and living the dream.
Thank you so much, Ruthie. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself and about your art?
Yes, for sure. So I'm from Nigeria as well, and I'm here 7 years ago, and I've been in Sudbury for 6 years now. I graduated with a BA in psychology at Laurentian University, and I'm a dancer and choreographer. So that's my vision, that's my basically, yeah.
Fantastic. So I do have one question, and it's open to any of you to answer, or perhaps all three of you might want to. What's it like being an artist here in what we now call Sudbury? What's it like to be a Black artist and to engage in your craft in this city, in this community?
I could go first. So when I first moved to Sudbury, I was kind of doing art just for myself and not really sharing it very much. But when I decided to share it, I found that the kind of response I was getting is it was good. It was very good, but it was kind of concerning that it was so good because I wasn't that experienced. But because I was one of the Black artists, and a lot of people haven't been exposed to that style of art, they kind of put me on a pedestal a little bit to represent Black artists. And so I got a little shy about sharing my art, but people have been really encouraging. I think it's mostly been fine. It's just a little hard to know if people are engaging with the work in the way that you're trying to get people to engage with it. And there's no real way of checking, so it's just it's just a wild ride, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I can jump in. I mean, it's been really, wonderful on my part. I mean, I've been lucky enough to be a part of a very supportive community. Alessandro, who runs Yes Theater, is just someone who has always encouraged diverse art, I think. I mean, the company's been around for 10 years now. And yeah, I mean, I think also I've just, acknowledging my own privilege and all this, I have also just been lucky with the support of my family and the financial support of my family. And I've been lucky to be encouraged to be excellent and pushed to pursue an education in theater. And yeah.
Simi, do you have anything to add to what's it been like for you as an artist here?
Yeah, well, it's still a very new experience for me since I'm going into dance and choreography part of it. I want to focus more on my Nigerian music, Afrobeat, and go from there. So it's still going really slowly, because then you have to start from somewhere out there before you can start getting people to, come over. It's still exciting to have to teach dance as well online, so it's nice, but it's a slow but sure process. Yeah.
Fantastic. So would you like to share with us some of your high moments of in your career so far? What's some of your favorite memories, I guess, of the art that you've created, some of the reactions you've had to that moment?
Was that directed at me?
Anyone can answer. If you want to go first,
I'll go first again. I've had really good experiences. Honestly, Sudbury is a really amazing place for music. I think there's a lot of new musicians who are coming out and making whatever they want. So I've been able to collaborate with a lot of musicians, and I really like that. Taking the art from just visual to something else that I don't really understand too well. I can play the piano, but I don't have any feeling or passion towards it. So it's nice to see when those two things kind of overlap. And what I also liked about Sudbury is that I was able to make queer art for the first time. If you see that one back there. So I haven't been able to express that before I came to Sudbury, because I knew that there was a solid queer community here. So I was able to just meet people just like me and get encouragement from that kind of art and express a different part of myself here. So I would say that's a huge highlight for me.
That's great. Anybody else have any highlights?
Yeah, I mean, for me, like the biggest highlight of the last few years, ever since I graduated, was definitely doing The Color Purple. I went to a classical theater school, so I was, by the end, there's a lot of cuts throughout the program, but by the end, I was the only person of color in my so then to go and do a show that was an all-Black cast, and to finally be in a room that was representative of my culture and my story, and my experience in my art was sort of one of the biggest highlights of my life. I'm still so grateful to have been there, and honestly so honored to have been there. So yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Do you have any to share?
Nothing to add. Oh no, no experiences, no big experience with the choreography or dancing.
Soon, though, very soon. So the current moment, of course, has seen a lot of, discussions, actions, feelings about racial justice. We've got people on the streets who are, telling us once again what changes need to happen in our society. And I'm wondering if you have any thoughts about that and how it might have an effect on the art that you do.
Well, for me, it's really about education. I mean, I don't know. I did this play reading yesterday with two plays. One of them was about Africville, and it was just the original intention of the pieces was to tour around schools. So it was like for theater for young audiences, and the playwright Bo Dixon toured around Canada and brought them to kids like ages like 8 to end of high school kind of situation. But just revisiting those plays about 20 years after he wrote them, it became clear that these stories are not told enough, and this history, this Canadian history, is not acknowledged, and it needs to be. I'm one of the students that I had brought in to do. Not I hadn't brought him in. Anyways, we did that play together, and he participated. And afterwards, he was just talking about how his whole life had never had any thought that he could ever be an artist. He never saw anyone that ever represented him. He never. He just thought, okay, if I'm going to do this, maybe I could do film and TV. I've seen a few people that I recognize up there. I could do that. So yeah, I think for me, it's about the art outreach, and it's about getting more people of color on stage doing it, and from a young age, fostering that community and making them believe that it's possible.
I agree. I also find that growing up, I loved going to galleries with my parents, and I didn't really absorb the material, of course, all the artworks. But the older I got, the more I noticed that the representation of Black people in the gallery or museum was very much about this tragic history, which I think, of course, has to be represented, but that's not all we are. This part of our history that was stolen away from us is now the largest part of our representation. And so when I'm trying to make art, I'm not really trying to be political. I don't want to lay it on thick. I don't think there's even a need for that, because the fact that I'm making it at all is already enough, which I say a lot, but it is just strange that I can't just make art about someone eating a fruit. I have to make it about a protest. And if you've ever even seen that in a gallery, it's already shocking enough to see a Black person doing something normal, falling in love, and in a painting. So I think it ends up being political whether you want it to be or not. But the fact that people need us to educate is a little bit tough, because then you're not creating art for yourself ever. You're not really creating art that's coming from within, because you're always thinking of how it will be viewed and how it will be absorbed and how it could educate people. And of course, there has to be a balance of that, but I think a lot of Black artists feel that pressure. And even when I started painting, I would paint mostly white people, and I didn't question it. I didn't think about it. And as I got older, I'm like, this has nothing to do with me. I'm just drawing faces because I want to learn the technical aspect of drawing, but not because I was feeling anything. So it took a while to kind of realize that this representation in any form is more than enough.
It's a really good
Definitely
good point
agree
about
with
like art. Sorry, Simi, go ahead.
No, I was just saying I agree with what Ruthie and Sonia said. I definitely agree with that. I wasn't say anything. You can go ahead.
No, I was just going to also say that that's a really important and I think a vital point, right? That that everything you do is politicized, right? Every piece that you do is politicized, and it doesn't just stand for itself. And we have a comment right now about how that must be a lot of pressure for an artist. Do you feel that? Do any of you feel that pressure that Sonia is talking about?
I mean, yeah, definitely. As I'm, trying to get my footing, start my life, because dance is my life. It's all it's the way I, express myself when I'm frustrated, when I'm happy, when I'm sad. It's very nerve-wracking to be here at the same time, but it's still exciting because, Sudbury is Africans and a lot of Black people coming to Sudbury now, which is very nice. But at the same time, like Collect is like an online dance movement where you get different teachers who teach different styles of dance to teach online for a certain. As I'm coming there, I can't start with the Afro that I want to start with. I have to start with freestyle hip hop or freestyles because I have to cater to instead of doing what I want to do. In a sense, I have to kind of first way to cater to my audience. Okay, what do I want to do for my life? What do I want to do for other people to make them feel free with dance? So yeah, it's a lot of pressure. It's pressure, but it's still exciting to think about that and to see that there's opportunity for me. Because then in a situation like 10 years ago, I don't think it would have been the same situation that we'd be gathering here and talking about to figure out a better way to live and have people think themselves. Me help you figure out how to relate to me. You have to go and do the research for yourself, understand where I'm coming from as an African person or as a Black person who is on a daily basis because of the skin I was born with. It's equal parts for people as well to do their own research and for me to help you as well. And if you don't do any research, I can't really, spoon feed you to better understand where I'm from. Basically,
For me, I'm just thinking about the idea of the body also being political. So no matter what, your skin tone, your everything has made your body political. And we know this because when we go to protest, we're putting our body on the line. So when you get to dancing, this is supposed to be a complete expression of personal freedom. And then it's like you're dancing in a cage all of a sudden. So, I mean, I truly understand that pressure must be so heavy on you because it is your body. This is where all of this is coming from. So it's, I didn't really think about it before now. Yeah.
There's so much levels to it. Yeah, sure.
So we do have a question, and I want to encourage people to please submit your questions to the panelists. So we have a question here from Patrick Corbière. Says, everyone has a message in their art. To the panelists, what is your message in your work?
Okay. So I wouldn't say I have one single message, but the general idea is that I grew up wanting to feel a sense of belonging, wanting to feel beautiful, wanting to imagine myself falling in love, but there's all these other levels, even just as a woman or someone who presents as a woman, there's this pressure on yourself that you have to be liked. You have to be the smallest version of yourself so that everybody will be happy. And you have to be so polite that you're the collateral damage of your forgiveness and politeness. And, if you're nice enough, someone will love you. So I think my general message is that you actually don't have to be very nice for people to love you, and you just have to be your true self. And the overt politeness that you're putting out is not sincere. So rather than forcing yourself to perform politeness, just instead investigate who you are and do what you have to do.
Yeah, I mean, along
I
the
love
lines,
that so much.
yeah. I don't also don't have, one specific sort of message, especially as, things shift and do different projects and such. But yeah, along similar lines, like shedding fear and just allowing for room for mistakes and room for no need for perfection. Yeah. And just continuing always to bring more of myself to everything that I'm doing, and not paying as much attention to the structure or the rules or, what my perception of what other people might want to see. So.
Yeah. Well, the message I have in my work is for you to feel free. I don't want choreography. I don't want it to be like you have to be perfect. You have to do everything perfectly. So far, you're cool and you understand what I'm saying, and you can interpret it in your own way with your own body, and you're happy with that. Then I'm happy. So that's the message I want to put in.
Fantastic. We have another message, another question from Facebook saying, thank you to all of you. This is such an important conversation. The question is, what needs to happen in Sudbury to ensure that Black art matters on a sustained basis? Any thoughts on that one?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's so many things. I mean, for me, first of all, I think that this whole movement can simply be a movement. We were talking yesterday after doing those YA plays, and he was saying he would offer them to schools, and it would kind of be, okay, we'll do it if it's Black History Month, and God forbid it's 1 week after Black History Month, then we're not going to do it. We don't have time. We don't have it in the budget now. And I think also there has to be more ownership of all of this, not just in the BIPOC community, but everyone needs to sort of feel welcome and feel like they want to be exposed to these stories. People need to, it's kind of like what Cindy was saying, we can't do all the research for you. We can't tell you everything. And I think also, even if there is just one person of color in your classroom, you still need and must make the effort to reach out to that person. Even if there is no person of color in your classroom, as a teacher, you need to be sharing a much more all-encompassing history of Canada and the world.
I'm thinking about how easy it is to fall into, even if you want to help, tokenizing. Just seeing someone as Black is not enough. It's like the work that this person embodies, they have to be seen as an individual. So I've had a bad experience where here in Sudbury, I had to show my work, but the person who was supposed to be helping me show it instead tells me, is this African art? But even just by asking that, I'm like, I'm an African artist, I'm making art, therefore I'm African. It's African art. So instead of trying to view the stereotype or having just representation, like not only my works of that look politically engaging should be shown, it shouldn't be this like contest for who has tokenized enough Black people in their specific corner of the world, and instead we view these people as individuals and specifically dive into their craft. So I don't know, it seems like we're blurred characters even when we're involved in something. So our place in the thing is understated and it's not defined. And I really feel like I'm on the same level as my peers because I'm like, oh, I was just brought in. And even at the architecture school, I mean, it's a great place and I came here just for that. But there's been a lot of instances of tokenization. And when I first moved here, there weren't that many Black people in the school, in the downtown area. So I felt a lot of, oh, photo day. Oh, you should come in and pose for the photo. Oh, you should be in the front. No, I'm not a star student. I don't get great grades, but I know why I'm here, you know? So it's just that thing of like, please make sure you're diving into and investing in people as individuals and not just as a blurry Black image or a silhouette of Black representation.
Such a very strong and important point.
Exactly.
Definitely, that this can't just be surface engagement. Stevie, did you have any thoughts about the question?
I know it's the same like what Sonia and Ruthie said. It's a process. It's you have to consciously learn about it. You have to keep, putting in your time, and it's not just to show me in a picture or put me on your website and be like Black artist. You have to genuinely care, because then when it's over and you finish showing me, then you don't care anymore. And it's like, okay, go. That's not how it should be. It shouldn't be because the movement going on right now. So it's like, okay, let's, bring out your name and all that. It should be a constant, daily, thing that you do to make an effort to educate yourself and to see where I would be coming from, because you can't be in my position if you're not my skin color. So you have to understand that you're different. You're on a different plane, so you have to figure out a way to move yourself from that mindset as a person, not because I'm Black and I'm full. There's a lot of Black talented people that do a lot of things doing it. So, it's not just about the recognition now. It has to be like this all the time, basically. Yeah.
And I think also the one thing I'm saying,
I feel like my audio
it's I see. Oh, okay. No, but the one thing I'm saying now that you should, of course, define the individual, but at the same time, it can be overwhelming if people then see you and see your work and they've actually done this research, and then everybody's messaging you because they need this kind of confirmation that they've done the right thing. And so you become overwhelmed because you're like, okay, I have to give this person I have to grade this person on their involvement of Black artists. And I'm just like, yeah. So I'm like, okay, you pass. And am I the person to do that? But even when you're enjoying the art or researching it, it's important not to pile onto an individual just because they're the only person you know. Instead, it would be interesting to find out if any of the Black people in your friend groups have a secret talent that they weren't comfortable telling you about because, you just haven't asked them or invested in that. Like, I'm sure most people that have Black friends you have something. You know, most people that I know that are Black can dance, and maybe you haven't seen it, but you have to create a safe enough space where they're freely expressing themselves, not even just as an artist, but as an individual. So, I mean, there's a lot of us, but if it's only the people who are visible for now, then the pressure will always be on us to, I guess, define allyship and Blackness, and it's not enough.
Great. So another question. We have a question about what advice would you offer young BIPOC artists who are just starting out?
This is a hard question, actually.
I mean, it is a hard question. I personally would definitely say there's a lot of things that you will have to seek to learn about yourself that will not be given to you. And hopefully that will change. But yeah, I think seeking beyond what you will be, you know, just grown or what you will be taught in your everyday. And yeah, I mean,
it's a lot, right? It's huge.
It is a lot. Yeah. I think what I would say is don't worry about being liked. Don't worry about white people evaluating your artwork, because in reality, this is your experience. And I think a lot of the pressure coming from outside, if you feel like you're one of the only Black people in a space, let's say visual art, then you tend to try to cater to that group, like I said before. But what happens if someone tells you your art isn't good enough? Do they actually have the qualifications to evaluate your story? So if a white woman tells me I'm not a real artist, or if a white man tells me I'm not a real artist, how could they possibly know? And this is another reason I struggle with the idea of going to art school, because I'm like, how can you prove to me that you have what it takes to critique my art? So just forget about the critique and just be yourself and do your thing and stand your ground. And no matter who tells you you're not an artist, it literally doesn't matter. Yeah.
I was gonna say be yourself, and Sonia just said it all. So yeah, I definitely just have to find yourself and be you. You're gonna be happy when you're truly yourself.
Awesome. Another question we have here is there anything non-Black individuals can do, in your experience, that helps foster an environment in which Black artists feel safe and supported to create?
I think it's important because important to try to deconstruct your own specific preferences in life. So it's something that everybody has to do, any individual has to do, is that you have to deconstruct, why do I like these things more than I like these things? Have I just been more exposed to this? So stepping out of your own personal comfort zone and discovering something you like that was created by people of color, it will show you a different part of yourself, and you will realize that you have been putting yourself in a box of what representation you actually absorb. So if you're watching a certain TV show, why are those the ones that appeal to you? You can go back to your childhood and think about the fact that, oh, this is just what I saw, so I find comfort in it, but I need to step out of my comfort zone to actually see other people as people, I guess. So it's just that personal work to deconstruct your specific preferences.
I think also just not always asking us for the answers, especially for the only person in the room. Like that was kind of my whole theater school experience, was always being asked if it was okay or this or that, you know. So just being cognizant of
It's a lot of pressure. Yeah.
So we have another question. How do you engage with public art, and how important do you think that murals, public performances, etc., is for the Black art and Black Lives Matter movement? So that public sort of facing.
The public aspect is one of the most important aspect of art to me, because, well, I mean, of course, personally, you would have your own private art, but if, again, this pressure to be political, if nobody sees my art, then they might not know that this art exists. So when we think about bringing Black bodies into representation or bringing that out into the public, you have to also engage with the history of forcing Black people, especially queer Black people, to be in hiding in their own homes. So your home becomes kind of a prison for you, and you realize that you don't feel like you deserve to be in public, like you're not allowed to take up public space. And even when you're in public, you feel like, oh, I just have to shrink myself. I have to stay in my own little corner. I don't want to make too much noise. I don't want to be too loud. So seeing street art that represents Black people then gives you the sense that you are allowed to take up space in public. This urban layout is also, it involves you as well. And you don't have to feel like you should go back into hiding, and your home doesn't have to become this prison. You shouldn't be seen as too loud because this is how you express yourself. So yeah, seeing Black representation out in public, that can calm a lot of younger people down too. It's just like growing up, you don't see that kind of thing, and you subconsciously actually absorb that you're not allowed to be in public. Somehow you're doing something wrong for just existing outside of your home, and you're making other people feel inconvenienced by your presence. But so street art, Black street art plays a huge role in that for me.
Fantastic. Has anybody else engaged in public art pieces or have thoughts on that?
Does theater count?
I think it's amazing.
Ruthie, have you ever done outdoor theater?
I don't think I've ever personally done scenes and stuff outside. A couple plays, which I think will probably start to happen more so now because we can't really be inside. Yeah, I mean, I think it's exactly what you just said. I mean, to see yourself and to not have to question whether you belong somewhere is what public performance can offer. I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
Great. So how do you see art being transformed in the next 10, 15, 20 years? What do you think Black art will look like, and what do you think the reaction will be to it?
I think there is no level of like art that you can make where people won't be uncomfortable. Like, it doesn't matter what you do, because you're Black, they're gonna be like, something's wrong with this because I'm not used to it. And you know, they haven't deconstructed that mindset. So I think that more than transforming, we have this idea that the art will transform and the politics will change the way we're creating art. But really, I think what it will do is expose art that hasn't previously been seen and people weren't exactly ready for before. So honestly, it might seem like the art is transforming, but in reality, people are just becoming more comfortable showing the art that there was no space to show before. Of course, I think there will be transformation based on specific historical events that have happened in the past few years, but the story kind of stays the same. You know, the story of oppression kind of stays the same. It just depends on the individual. So,
Yeah, I totally agree. I think that there's so much that has been erased and so much that, you know, we're all continuing to learn even about ourselves. And I think that that will only hopefully be uncovered and brought in and become a part of everybody's everyday. That's what I hope, is that it will be just as everyday as, you know, me watching Mean Girls is. Yeah.
Any thoughts to me on that question? I think.
No, agree. Yeah, I agree with that has been said. I feel like it's not more of a change, it's just more of a mindset where you get more comfortable with, where you get comfortable with understanding it instead of just being one-sided because of how you were brought up or how you is, black bodies and stuff like that. So yeah, I think it's a mindset that needs to change.
Simi, how do you feel about, you know how TikTok is on the rise now, and so a lot of Black dancers have gotten like this, not even recognition to be honest, but the dances that they've created have now been pumped out into society like so fast. Each week there's like a new dance. What do you think about that? It's just been a really intense quarantine for dancers, right? Oh, I was saying, I forgot
it
what the
really
last.
has been.
Mhm.
A little bit,
Yeah. But yeah, I feel
but
dance
yeah, it
moves
is
faster.
exciting. It's exciting.
Sorry, we're overlapping.
Yeah, I mean, it's exciting to.
Yeah,
It just keeps overlapping. I know.
might be having a little technical difficulty.
Sorry.
Yeah, just. Yeah, but then it's nice. It's nice to see, recognition. I mean, all the popular dances that people carry, like Mini or the whips or war dance, it was created by a little Black girl. With all this, it's already Black culture. It's already things that has been done. But then, but you're not as popular. A girl is doing this dance that a Black girl created, and she's getting interviews, and then the actual person that created, don't even know they exist. So it's gonna be a situation where it's gonna be, you're gonna get credit for what, not because someone else is doing it because of their skin color, what they, but because you did it, you made it, and it is yours. So it's nice. We move. It's exciting as a dancer too. Yeah, I'm very. Yeah.
I don't want to share how many hours I've spent on TikTok.
It's so addictive.
So as someone who is not very well knowledgeable of art, just wondering, who are your favorite artists, your favorite Black artists? Who would you suggest that people start with in terms of their own sort of, other than the three of you, which I'm hoping everybody has read your intros, but who would you suggest?
Is it specific to Sudbury?
No, it doesn't have to be.
Okay. So I have a favorite artist who is Sophia Adeyemo. but I'll post her Instagram afterwards because it's it's complicated. But she's actually still an art student, and her work is just I can't even describe it. It's very textured, and she's telling these like Black stories that are very tender, and it's about showing affection between Black people because that's some kind of representation we almost never get, especially when it comes to dark skinned Black people. You never really see a couple on TV, like a main couple that like these two lovers are two Black people, unless it's a side story and someone else's development. So she kind of represents that. Young children playing, boys holding hands, and something that's soft and sweet, but in such a layered, textured way and historical. So I'll try to find her Instagram and I'll post afterwards, but that is my favorite artist.
Great.
Lots of favorite actors and musicians, obviously. I love Norm Lewis. I love Audra McDonald. I love some of our wonderful Canadian actors, like Samantha Walk, Ryan Allen. Tafari Anthony, who's from here, is one of my favorite brilliant creators. He's a musician. I don't know if you guys know him at all. And also my friend Tessa, even, she is from Sudbury and she has a wonderful album. So much to
I'd say my favorite is right now is
sorry. I was just going to. The last one was there's a playwright named Noah Ellams, and he wrote this insanely wonderful adoption of Chekhov's Three Sisters, based in I think in Kenya. I might have gone the wrong country. I think Kenya. Yes, and I don't know. That's a work that I just thought was so wonderful. They produced it at the National Theatre in London, and I highly recommend checking out all of the National Theatre's stuff. They do like a National Theatre live sort of thing that's like on YouTube of some of their productions, and they produce a lot of really wonderful Black work. So.
Nice. Yeah.
It's hard
right
to
now. My favorite artist is based in Vancouver, and he's really great. He's from Ghana, so it's nice to see a nice African who's already built his business and who's already doing really good, in Canada. So it's really nice to see that. So that's my goal too. Where I'm going. Yeah.
Fantastic. If
you can go ahead now, Sonia.
Oh.
No, I honestly forgot. Yeah.
Sorry, I think I'm like having a lag here on my side, but I'm sorry if I'm speaking over you. If you have any links or anything, if you could share them, that would be awesome, so that folks can learn about the artists that you shared and to get into them. So that's great. So we do have a question specifically for Sonia, but I'm also going to ask all of you about what's upcoming for you. But for Sonia, how are you approaching the public art project you're doing for Up Here?
So I'm supposed to start on a mural very soon. I've been approaching it through actually my own personal, story, because like I said before, our identities are political no matter what. So one thing I actually love dancing. We're Nigerian, we love dancing. It's kind of like you have to. So, but also in queer culture, right? So before, when I was talking about the public expectation of politeness and keeping small. This is also the history of people not being allowed to like going to dance in a bar or something like that. So we had to create our own safe spaces. But the constant in that is that we will dance no matter what. So we'll find a way to dance. And so I wanted to represent Black people dancing on the building because it is a constant like expression of freedom. And there was an incident a few years ago that these people, I talk about this all the time. It's ridiculous and it's so funny, but not funny, but you know, like it's just ridiculous. They put up these posters all around downtown and I think a little bit outside of downtown. And they were kind of like, there's too many brown people in the city and like, get your children out of here and don't have more babies. Just really creepy stuff. And there was one in front of my building that says, I don't want my children to become minorities in their own country. And then it's this stock photo, white couple, like a pregnant girl. They didn't even take the like watermarks off. But anyway, that idea that we are like destroying them because we're just existing here. When they say diversity is white genocide, genocide is genocide. It's not white genocide for us to exist in the same space as you. So the idea is that this public art piece will let them know that we are not going anywhere and we're just increasing the number. And we're not destroying your life just by simply being part of your community. So that's kind of the direction I'm going in with that.
Fantastic. I cannot wait to see it. When I found out you were doing a mural, I was extremely excited. So can't wait to see what you create. Another question. So what are your next steps as artists post-COVID? If you can think about post-COVID, what are your intentions in the coming years as a means to foster your art and abilities? What can we expect from all of you, I guess, is the question.
Well, in terms of fostering my art and abilities, I mean, right now, obviously, there's not too much theater to be doing. I'm taking a lot of classes online. I'm taking a lot of acting classes, but also just sort of history classes and things to sort of expand myself as a person and therefore artist. Hopefully, I mean, I'm supposed to be working with Neptune Theatre again, which is in Halifax. So hopefully that happens. I will definitely be working with Yes, always, but hopefully in the next season too. So that's where I'm at. Just hoping that things will start to creep back up and that there'll just be more and more and more space to fill.
Fantastic.
I'm thinking I've just been I've let go of that feeling that I have to create all the time, and you know, now that I've started, I can't stop. So quarantine has been really good for that because now I just doodle in my journal and I'm like, I'm not going to show anyone this. It's creating like a more free style that's coming out of like a style that I previously didn't have. So I think in the next few years, I'm going to allow myself to experiment, because the one thing is that I'm very afraid that if I stop doing the thing I'm good at and try something else, I'll forget the thing I'm good at and I won't get that other thing right. So I'm just in the cycle of I want to try clay and I want to do a large sculpture, but I'm also like, if I mess it up, I'm going to have spent so much time cultivating this horrible skill that I'm not good at. So I've let go of that, and now I'm just like, I'm just going to experiment with different materials and mediums.
Hello, everybody. So first, a huge thank you to our lovely, lovely panelists.
Oh, we're just gonna have, Simi hasn't answered that.
Oh, sorry.
She left.
Oh, don't go. She's gone.
Sorry. Go ahead, Sonia.
I was just gonna say the plan is to keep Murphy that makes me happy, because if I'm happy, make other people happy and teach them to love themselves and feel comfortable in their skin and be happy with what they do, because dancing helps stress. So go to high schools, universities, colleges, and just help out students, because I'm the stresses that go with school and all that. So yeah. Oh.
Totally. Sorry, my computer's lagging all over the place. But I want to come back. Thank all of our panelists for participating. Thank you, Shana, hugely for being an awesome moderator today. Thank you up here for giving us this platform. And then I really want to stress that today is just kind of the beginning of the conversation, or not even the beginning, it's just a moment in the conversation, because people have been having this discussion for years. This is something that we've been talking about since slavery in the United States, when Black people weren't even permitted to pursue the arts, to, you know, the 19th century, to when like they're liberated from slavery, and like all these things. So this is just an ongoing conversation that I really want to stress to people that this isn't the end, this isn't the beginning, this is literally just a moment in time in the conversation of the Black arts chapter of the world. So thank you all for joining us. If you guys have any questions or anything, feel free to post them in the panel, and the panelists can like check them out, answer them. I will be around gladly. And I also really want to take this opportunity to talk about an upcoming arts project that we have working as well as Sonia working on her mural. We also have a beautiful Black installation coming your way soon. So there will be sneak peeks out there soon. I don't want to give away too much. But myself, Sonia, Isaac Vaillancourt are an incredible photographer, as well as Richard Grant, an incredible model, and Riley McEwen. We've been working on this incredible Black arts installation that will be coming soon to a Cuppa Joe near you. So if you guys are downtown Sudbury, check out Cuppa Joe's windows. In the next 2 weeks, our installation will be going up. So we're super excited about that. And otherwise, tune into the rest of the festival. If you've missed something, check out the Up Here Facebook channel. And thank you all so much for tuning on. And turns out Black Lives Matter, guys. Thank you.